Hello students, welcome back. Today we are going to read from the tissue chapter in the plant tissue, the next category, that is your permanent tissue. In our previous class we have seen about the various kinds of meristematic tissue depending upon their location and how they are helping the plant to grow in various aspects. That was what we had studied. Today, which we are going to study, is about the permanent tissue. Now, the permanent tissue, before we proceed into their types and categories, one must know what is the meaning of this permanent tissue. As the name suggests, permanent, that means they have come to the stage further which there will be no such differentiation. The meristematic tissues are those which are continuously dividing, and as a result of continuous division they result in the growth of the plant. But when the meristematic tissues lose their property of division, then they differentiate into a kind of tissue which we call it as your permanent tissue. Okay. Now this permanent tissue, as they are of non-dividing tissues, so what is the purpose of these tissues in the plants? Perhaps you remember in the beginning of the chapter I said that in case of plants most of the tissues are dead in nature, because for the maintenance and all, the plants need a very little activity because they are stagnant, they are stationary, so they don't need to move or locomote. As a result, they don't have so much of living tissues in them. So permanent tissues plays a role in giving mechanical support to the plant. The main function of the permanent tissue is to give support to the plant. Why support to the plant? Because they are stagnant, they are stationary. So if there is any kind of environmental conditions which are stressful for the plant, to withstand that kind of conditions, they need the support of this permanent tissues. Now the permanent tissues, as you can see here, has been divided into two types. One is your simple permanent tissue and another one is your complex permanent tissue. As the name suggests here, simple permanent tissues, their work is very simple. What is their work? Their work is just protective or supporting. So the simple permanent tissues are mainly meant for giving protection to the inner lining parts of the plant's body, or to give support, mechanical support, which is the primary function of the permanent tissues. The next category of the permanent tissue is your complex permanent tissue. Now this complex permanent tissue, as the name suggests, complex, that means besides giving mechanical strength to the plant, it has some other functions also to do. What are these functions? These functions includes a transportation and conduction. Conduction of water and minerals and transportation of food substances within the plant's body. So that is the reason why they are called complex. Complex means the primary function of giving mechanical support they are doing, but along with that they are doing some other functions of conduction and transportation. First, let us see the simple permanent tissues. Now the simple permanent tissues are of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Now before we go deeper into, one must understand that unlike the meristematic tissues which are living, the permanent tissues, some are living, some are dead. So it is not that the permanent tissues means they are all made up of the dead cells. No, not like that. Some of them are living, but the other criteria or the characteristic of the permanent tissue is different from that of the meristematic tissue. Like they have a large central vacuole, which was missing in case of meristematic tissue. They have a lot of intercellular spaces between them. If you remember, in case of meristematic tissue, the cell wall was thin, whereas in case of the permanent tissue, the cell wall is externally coated or externally deposited by some kind of substances like hemicellulose, like lignin, like suberin and all, so that they are now strengthy, sturdy, and they can give the plant the kind of protection they need, because they are unable to move from one place to another place to protect themselves from the environmental stressful conditions. And they have a prominent nucleus in some cases. In some cases the nucleus is not so conspicuous. Okay, and the cell organelles in case of the permanent tissues are well developed, unlike that of the simple permanent tissue, the meristematic tissues. So the first kind of simple permanent tissue is your parenchyma tissues. Now these are, if you do a cross section, see, when we take any kind of stem or a root and we just slice it like this, so it will be called as your transverse section, and when we slice it longitudinally, then it will be called as your LS, that is your longitudinal section or vertical section. So if we see this parenchyma cells under the microscope, how do they appear? The parenchyma cells appear to be round, spherical or oval or polygonal with a lot of intercellular spaces between them, somewhat like this. Okay, so these are the parenchyma cells. You can see that round shaped parenchyma cells, and they have lot of intercellular spaces. These are the intercellular spaces between the parenchyma cells. Okay, so this is your intercellular space. So they have a lot of intercellular spaces, and they have prominent nucleus in them. Okay, so they have a nucleus in them. And they are round shaped or they are isodiametric in shape, and they mainly form the storage tissue. They mainly form the storage tissue means what? When the plants perform the process of photosynthesis, food is prepared, food is stored in the form of starch. That starch is stored in this parenchyma tissues. They form the packing tissues. Packing tissues means in between the other tissues where the gaps are there in case of the plant's body, those gaps are filled by that of the parenchyma cells. So parenchyma cells mainly forms the ground tissue or the packing tissue, and also they act as a storage tissue. They store food substances like starch, they store food substances like protein, they store food substances like that of your that is your oils, various kinds of other substances present within the plant's body. So that is the primary function of the parenchyma cells. Besides this, the parenchyma cells are also associated with the chloroplast. When the parenchyma cells are found in case of your leaves, in case of leaves, the parenchyma cells which are found over there, they are of two types. Okay, one is called as your spongy parenchyma and another one is called as your palisade parenchyma. Two types of parenchyma are found in case of leaves, and they are associated with chloroplast, which is having the green pigment chlorophyll, and as a result they help in the process of photosynthesis. So when the parenchyma is associated with chlorophyll, in that case the parenchyma has a name. What is the name of that parenchyma? That is called as your chlorenchyma. CHLORENCHYMA. Okay, see the word has come chlorine. So the word chloro or chlorine has come from chlorophyll. So the parenchyma cells bearing chlorophyll that helps in the process of photosynthesis found in the leaves of the plants are known as your chlorenchyma cells, chlorenchyma tissues. The assemblage of such cells is known as your tissues. So this is one type of parenchyma cells. Sometimes in case of aquatic plants, the parenchyma cells are associated with lot of intercellular spaces which is filled with air. Okay, so when it is filled with air, in that case it is called as your arenchyma. Okay, so parenchyma cells in case of aquatic hydrophytes, that means the plants which grow in water, in that case when the parenchyma is associated with that of air, in between these intercellular gaps air is filled. As a result, what will happen? If air is filled in some tissues, it will make it lighter. So as a result, you will find that the leaves of the lotus, the leaves of the aquatic plants are floating on the surface of the water, isn't it? So that is because of the presence of air in them. So that type of parenchyma is known as your arenchyma. Okay, what is the spelling? AERENCHYMA. Okay, that is called as your arenchyma. Okay, so parenchyma with air cavities, air-filled cavities in case of hydrophytes, arenchyma. So these are the various kinds of parenchyma's function. That is, they help in the storage, they help in the packing, they help in the doing of photosynthesis when they are associated with chlorophyll, and in case of hydrophytes, they help in the floating of the shoot portions of the plant so that they do not, submerge, or they do not decompose, or they get damaged because of overexposure to water. So this is about the parenchyma tissues and their functions which are found in case of plants coming under the simple permanent tissues. The next one is your collenchyma. See students, most of the students make a mistake between the chlorenchyma and collenchyma. Spelling is different. One is C-O-L-L-E-N and another one is C-H-L-O. So when it is CHLO, you have to understand that it is associated with chlorophyll. But in this case, collenchyma, this is somewhat different. Now this is also a kind of simple permanent tissue. Parenchyma cells are nucleated. Collenchyma cells have also nucleus in them. Collenchyma cells have what is the specialty of this collenchyma cells is that if you see these cells, collenchyma cells, if you see these cells, they have nucleus, okay. In them, in the angles, in the corners, they are having some, extra thickenings, okay. So they have thickenings only in the corner, not throughout their cell wall, okay, not throughout their cell wall, they have thickenings only in the corners, like this. So this is the nature of the collenchyma, and they do not have intercellular spaces much like that of the parenchyma cells. So these thickenings makes them more stronger compared to that of the parenchyma cells. So as a result, what happens is that they give mechanical strength to the plant, and they are found just below the epidermis in the cortex region of the dicot stems, okay. They are found over there. So as a result, when they are present in a compact manner, because of this thickenings and all, they give flexibility and elasticity to the plant parts. As a result, even if the wind is blowing very hardly, so in that case they will not result into the breaking of the plant parts. They will be just they will be just so flexible and elastic that they will bend, but again regain back or again come back to its original form without breaking. So that is the function of the collenchyma tissue. Collenchyma tissues are also sometimes associated with your that is your photosynthetic pigment. So in that case, they can also do photosynthesis sometimes, but their basic function is to provide mechanical strength to the plant's body and to help the plant or to resist the plant from the wear and tear due to the environmental stressful conditions. Where are they found? As I told you, that if you see a plant, if you do a section, outer surface of the plant is having a covering, that covering is called epidermis. Just below the epidermis are the cells or the tissues which forms the cortex. So in the cortex region, especially in the dicot plants, these collenchyma tissues are found so that they give the mechanical strength to the plant so that they don't wear and tear due to the environmental stressful condition. Also, the collenchyma tissues are found in the petiole of the leaf, because the leaf flutters. When the wind blows at a very high speed, you will find that the leaf is fluttering. So if the leaf is fluttering, if the leaf stalk is weak, in that case what will happen? Because of too much high wind velocity, the leaf will break, isn't it? But it doesn't breaks. Why doesn't it breaks? Because of the presence of this collenchyma tissues over there. In between the leaf, you might have seen the midrib of the leaf, the veins of the leaves, isn't it? So the midrib of the leaf, the veins of the leaves, all those are made up of your collenchyma tissues. So that is the work of the collenchyma tissue. The third kind of tissues which are found in case of your simple permanent tissue is called as your sclerenchyma tissue. Now the sclerenchyma tissue, unlike the parenchyma and collenchyma, are made up of cells which are dead. They don't have nucleus in them. Okay, the sclerenchyma tissue's walls are highly lignified. The presence of lignin is not found in case of parenchyma tissues. They are not found in case of collenchyma tissues, but they are found in case of your sclerenchyma tissues. Okay, so here we find hemicellulose, we find cellulose, we find the thickenings of hemicellulose and cellulose over there. Here only cellulose in the outer cell wall, but here along with the cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, they also have lignin deposition. Lignin is a polymer, a substance which is having high tensile strength. As a result, they are associated with giving mechanical strength or flexibility to the plant's body. So their main purpose is to give mechanical strength, and they are found in the parts of the plants such as, you know, stem, like you will find in case of the jute plant. The jute plant, in case of your coconut, you have seen the coir of the coconut. When you just want to cut open the, you know, coconut to have the nut portion to eat it, before that you find some fibrous things, isn't it? So those fibrous things are made up of sclerenchyma fibers. They are the dead fibers and they are made up of the sclerenchyma tissue. Okay, and if you just see any kind of nut type of fruits, like for example the walnuts, okay, almonds, outer wall of the almond, outer wall of the walnut, you have to break it open. It's very hard. So they are made up of the cells, which is also sclerenchyma, but that sclerenchyma is called as your sclerids. They are also known as your stone cells. So stone cells are found in the hard outer nut portion of the nut, like that of your walnut, like that of your coconut, like that of your that is your almond, and the fibrous part is present in case of your jute plant stem. Jute plant stem, when they rot, you take out the fibers with which the jute bags are made, the gunny bags are made, isn't it? So that fibers is also because of the sclerenchyma fibers. The coils which we obtain from the coconut, with which we are making the ropes, with which we are making the mattress, with which we are making sometimes the sofa's fillings, all those things are made up of the sclerenchyma fibers. So sclerenchyma fibers in turn is made up of two kinds of, you know, tissues. Let us just see them. One is called as your sclerids, and the other one is called as your fibers. So fibers means sclerenchyma fibers found in the coconut fibers, found in the that is your jute fibers, and sclerids are found in the, that is the outer hard covering of the nuts. They are also found in certain fruit pulps. What are these fruit pulps? Guava, pear, okay, sapota. So guava, all of us, we have eaten it. So when you eat the guava, you find a kind of texture in your mouth which is grainy, which is not soft, which is not, you know, smooth. It's not pulpy. It is having some gritty nature, some stony, some hard nature. So that is because of the sclerids, and these sclerids are also known as your stone cells. They are also known as your stone cells. Okay, so this is about the two types of sclerenchyma tissues which are found in case of plants, that gives the function of giving mechanical strength and the hard nature of certain fruits or certain pulps. The simple permanent tissues, which are made up of your parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, giving the mechanical support and strength to the plant, they are supportive. Along with that, they have another function also, that is the protective function. What is this protective functions? When these cells, that is the parenchyma cells, are found in the outer covering of stem or outer covering of a root, they form the epidermis. Okay, so the protective nature of the simple permanent tissues, under this, the first one is your, they help to form the epidermis. So epidermis is the outer covering of any stem, leaf or any kind of branches or roots. But when this epidermis is found in the roots, they have a special name. What is this name? They are known as your epiblema. Okay, they are known as your epiblema, and they are basically made up of your parenchyma cells. So their function here is protective, because they are protecting the inner tissues of the plants, whether it is stem, whether it is leaf, whether it is root or whatever it is. So epidermis is made up of the simple permanent tissues which helps the plants to protect the internal parts of the plant's body. Now this epidermis sometimes in case of plants, especially in the leaves and the young stems, are provided with that of the stomata. Now stomata are the openings through which exchange of gases takes place in case of plants. So the epidermis is sometimes broken by the help of due to the presence of rather some pore like structures, which is externally protected by two kidney shaped structures like this, and this kidney shaped structures, these two are called as your guard cells. They are called as your guard cells. They are called as your guard cells. And this pore, the central pore, this pore is now called as your stomata. This is called your stomata, through which the exchange of gases takes place in case of plants, so that they can release the oxygen during the daytime and take up the carbon dioxide, and at night they can just release the carbon dioxide into the surroundings. And also the excess water is lost into the surroundings by means of a process called transpiration by the help of this stomata present on the leaves or the young stems of the plants. Okay, so these are the kind of tissues which are protective in nature, that is found in the epidermis of the plants. In case of roots, why the epidermis is known as epiblema? Because the epidermis is provided by some root hair cells. Suppose if this is a parenchyma cells like this, if this is a parenchyma cell like this, another cell, so they will produce some kind of extensions. Okay, they will produce some kind of extensions. So these extensions which are present in the form of outgrowths, these outgrowths are the root hair cells. Okay, these outgrowths are the root hair cells which helps in the absorption of water and minerals. So since they are present on the epidermal part, that is why such cells will be called as your epiblema. So epidermis is, in case of roots, since are provided with some root hair cells, so that is why they are known as your epiblema. Okay, so this is the protective nature. In case of plants when they grow older, okay, so when they grow older, the outer epidermis of the main trunk of the plant, it sometimes breaks. Okay, and the inner cortical cells, means just below the epidermis, the cells which are lying, the internal tissues which are lying, they are called the cortex cells. I will be drawing the section of the stem of the dicot in the next class and making you understand what are the different layers of tissues found in case of the stem of a dicot plant. Okay, but for now on, you just remember that the outermost covering is epidermis, which is protective in nature. Just below is the cortex. Now in the plants which have grown mature, in them what happens is that the epidermis breaks and the inner cortical tissues comes to the surface. Now since they are permanent in nature, but when they have attained their complete maturity, some of these permanent cells again turn to be meristematic. Okay, I told you in the previous class they turn to be meristematic, and now this will be called as your cork cambium, and this cork cambium will now produce cells both outward as well as inward. The outward cells which will be produced by this cork cambium, they will produce the cork. Okay, and the cork cambium, cork will together form the bark of the plant. You have heard about the word called bark, isn't it? Bark of a plant you have heard about. So the bark of the plant comprises of the cork cambium and the outer cells added to the cork cambium, that is the cork, togetherly will be forming the bark. So they are also giving what? They are giving protection to the internal parts of the tissues of the plants, so that no external microorganisms can enter into the internal parts and damage the plant or destroy the plant, or even sometimes the plants die also because of the external microbial infestation. To prevent that, this kind of tissues are externally added to. So cork will prevent the external infestation of the microbes into the internal tissues of the plants and damage the plant. That is also the thing. Secondly, it will prevent desiccation, that means the internal cells will not dry up. That is also the purpose of this cork cambium, adding the cork tissues outside. Cork is commercially very important because for the manufacturing of various sports goods like the shuttlecock, like the paddle of the table tennis bat, Then the cricket balls, the cork is utilized. Cork is an insulating material, so it is very light in nature, so it can be used for making up of substances in which insulation is required. That means it is fireproof in nature. So that is a commercial application of that, of the cork, which is a kind of tissue added to during the time of secondary growth of the plant. Okay, so that is all about the today's class of the permanent simple permanent tissues, its types and its function, and according to the function, where are they present, their location, and how are they protecting the plant to stay alive, and also to withstand the mechanical stressful conditions prevailing in the environment, and also to do the various life activities of the plants. I hope you understood today's class well.